everyone. Welcome back to Astrology Victoria with
Dulcie and
Tatiana here to be discussing with you in our archetype series, our next archetype, Dulcie, which is?
we're talking about Scorpio, deep dark Scorpio.
I see. Yeah, so we're going to talk about Scorpio. And Dulcie, what are the basics of our Scorpio archetype?
Talk about some of those basics. So for the duality, it is a feminine element or feminine nature. And the element water, which is kind of has that sort of depth, deep, dark, emotional nature to it. So any sign in the zodiac that is feminine or that is water, it will be feminine. So those two go together. And the quality is fixed. It is a kind of fixed nature. It is set in its ways. It's not necessarily going to be constantly changing. It is fairly steady in its behavior. And the ruler, the ancient ruler is Mars, and the modern ruler would be Pluto. So a little bit of both there, depending on where you're coming from.
I understand what you mean.
You are being very scorpionic today.
I don't know. I'm trying. A little bit. Let's expand. So a little bit on the, of course, emotional nature of Scorpio with this water element, and the feminine water is like it's receptive and intense, and because it's water, it has this fluidity. But when it's fixed, it's almost like ice, you know. So it's like crystallized emotion. Because when the Scorpio finds something that it merges with and crystallizes into it, it becomes like bonded permanently. And that's why it's so difficult to break and detach. And the reason why this is like so is because of the very nature of what Scorpio energy is about in the experience of this realm that we will be discussing. So that's one thing, the feminine emotional, and it's all about how we process the deep emotional and the emotions and the psyche, right? It's all in this other realmy feel and vibe that's almost, you need a detective to go there and find the things that are so intangible, invisible, and yet so mysterious. And the rulers, so let's talk a little bit about the ancient and modern rulers and their function within the Scorpio energy. So Dulcie, what would you say about Mars as the first ruler of Scorpio?
So Mars has that kind of that energy to it, the drive, the one that is willing to do the work necessary to get the job done. So in Aries, Mars is an initiator. Mars just goes and does and doesn't think about it. It wants to do something. It feels obligated to do something, or it's protecting something, and so it just does it without thinking. In Scorpio, there's a bit more of a process to it. It still is very driven, and it will do whatever it takes to get the job done, but there's more of a slow and steady pace to it, and it's more consistent rather than just going and fizzling out losing energy eventually. The Scorpio, it will keep going and going until it finds what it's looking for.
And then Pluto is a whole topic in itself. However, from the evolutionary perspective, Pluto and the function of Pluto in Scorpio is the desire that the soul has to evolve. And in order to evolve, you need to destroy something so something new can exist. So the nature of Pluto, the destroyer, right, or the, lord of the underworld, and in mythology would be like Hades, and it's very tied to this going deep into the darkest parts and then also destroying. So it's the soul needs to understand that there's all kinds of corners of experience, and then there's a desire to move past all kinds of experiences, and usually through what's deep, the most painful or fearful things, because when we fear something and we face the fears, we transcend. So the nature of Pluto is to force that into the soul with a deep transformative force. And then Mars is like going, okay, Pluto, I'll go and do it. And looks, and that's the action portion of Pluto's desire. So at a soul level, Pluto really would represent that. And because it's the ruler of Scorpio, everything that we're going to be talking about has this density about it. The scorpionic energy has a very specific function in life, in existence. And that's why, well, we all have every single energy in us, and people who have a deep concentration of scorpionic energy have a very specific desire of experience. Not necessarily the easiest one, but we're not going to go into easy and difficult or good or bad. It's more like, what is the experience like? So from this perspective, Scorpio really highlights the nature of merging. And we come from the Libra archetype, which is the connection to another being. Hi, how are you? We are connected. And now Scorpio seeks to go. Now how about this and this and this? There's a merger to the energy. That's like the 8th house. That's why we talked about shared things. It's the merger of energy. The only way anything can be truly experienced is not from like, oh, Dulce, you're over there. I see you. I know who you are. No, I need to merge with you. And then I will know your experience. And this merging not only happens, it happens at all levels. It's energetic. It happens at all levels of the being. That's why Scorpio rules sexuality. We talk about Scorpio and sex, but why sex? Because when the sexual act happens, it's not just the dudes going in, you know what I mean? Or if it's like same sex, whatever, we're not getting preferences, but it's not like that merge is just happening physically. It's a lot, all the energy is merging together. There's a whole experience, and that's why it can be so intense when it's felt through the scorpionic lens. There's this level of intensity because you're just a powerhouse. Scorpio just elicits this powerful feeling of having all of the energy of creation at your disposal, because that's what the sexual energy is the energy of creating anything or destroying it. It's like the atomic bomb. It could destroy, it could create. It's just raw energy. That's the scorpionic energy. So nature of merger. And then what happens when you merge? You're like this, right? Well, go and merge that. What happens when that happens, Dulcie? It is painful.
Yeah, so there's the physical merging, there's the emotional attachment that people have with each other, or with knowledge, with things that they discover, with objects, and then there's the mental merging, the mental interaction where you share intimate details of yourself and you talk about things that are difficult to discuss. And once you form that kind of relationship, that deep relationship, it's very difficult to separate.
And part of the scorpionic energy is to understand that everything has a cycle of change as well. So it will end. Mm-hmm. And it's like the plant. I heard this the other day in a teaching, and I thought it was amazing. It's like a plant, and the plant has all these dead leaves. I think it was Molly McCord. I really like her teachings. It has all these dead leaves, and you need to kind of sacrifice these dead leaves and cut a part of the living tissue, literally, to remove all that so that when you prune the plant, oh, all this new life comes. And it's like, wow, what happened? If you did not prune it and just left all the dead things hanging and hanging, then eventually the whole plant suffocates under its own toxicity. So it's literally needing to remove that. But the process of removal is always involves some kind of detaching from a part of ourselves that's dead, a dead limb. Right? And then it's like, ouch, because there's that process of pain involved there. Pain does not necessarily mean suffering. That's when the human completely makes it, ah. But it does involve the process of unmerging and understanding what merging and unmerging means. And in order to understand the deep meaning of anything to its truest essence, you need that merger. That's why the Scorpio energy seeks to go deep and deep and deep until it touches the bottom, but there's usually no bottom. But it keep going until it finds the absolute truth of an essence of anything. And in all of its spectrum, in the light, in the dark, like it doesn't matter. We'll go and look all of the corners of it. So I'm going to share the image that I created for this archetype. And again, this is my personal take on it. So it's full of the symbols I have created.
So I can see that we are in this deep, dark cave with waters that look kind of mysterious. We don't know what's inside that water.
I don't want to swim in there.
Yeah, I'm a little bit afraid. So there are all kinds of things that, people might necessarily be afraid of, like there's spider webs and there's a scorpion, there's dark water, there are skulls, just darkness in general. These are, scary looking faces and eyes peering at you. It's kind of an unpleasant feeling that it gives you all around. But it's also the depths that we need to explore within our own psyche in order to make our way through to that light that is through that tunnel. And it's not something we need to go through once. It's, depending on what we're experiencing, we have to kind of take a look at the things that are uncomfortable to examine, and sift through that and understand it and just sit with it and experience it. And once we have experienced it, we can then transform into whatever is next. So we have the butterfly here that you can see the caterpillar tail in the water. So it has kind of gone through that deep water, and it has gone through the death process, and it has learned a lot and has transformed into a butterfly. We can see the two people physically merging in this image. And the sleeping woman, I feel like I see something different. We see a lot of eyes that are peering into this environment, and so they open their eyes. They are looking at it directly. It might be uncomfortable, but they're looking. Whereas the sleeping woman, she looks kind of blissful and she's asleep. She's not really experiencing this yet. So this might be before she actually opens her eyes and goes into the depths. She's kind of feeling peaceful and doesn't know what's coming. Yeah, what else do I see? Just the eyes that are looking. Regardless of what it's making them feel, they are actively peering into this experience and taking it in. I think I might see those eyes differently than you as well. And the book there, just the book of knowledge, just wanting to seek the truth no matter what. And if you have to go through this process of death and darkness and creepy things and things that you don't know what's coming yet. You still are willing to go through it in order to find the absolute truth.
Wow, Dulce, I really like your different perceptions and interpretations, like the sleeping woman. Well, like,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe at first I thought it was like a kind of sensual feel, but that can also be, it's like she's almost sleeping with death there too, because we can be at one moment in one state and then that state won't last long. But like you said, maybe she'll open her eyes to, oh wow, I'm going to go through this darker process. So it's really cool to see the different interpretations, because again, when I do these things, it's free for people to see what they see in them. And I do feel like when I created this water, I was like, I don't think I would like to necessarily go and swim in here, even though it kind of looks like it's a nice colored water. And it's like, oh, it's nice, but it's not very crystalline. You just really don't know how deep that is. And if you were to open your eyes, what would you see? Like maybe you will get attacked by that phase. Like again, it's your own shadows. It's the shadows of the human experience. It's all the energy that we usually do not want to talk about. It's hidden in the cave. Why? Because it's uncomfortable. Scorpio brings to the light the uncomfortable things, the difficult, uncomfortable energies that we need to face. And again, sexuality again is the energy of merger, but we'll see when we talk about the higher and lower octave, it can be expressed in many ways. It could be BDSM or it could be tantra, the same energy, but it's the creative energy. And this butterfly, definitely the violet flames, it's like the phoenix, right, that dies to ashes and then is reborn. This caterpillar goes through that death process, and the transformation, the violet flames in certain occults like schools or of thought or spiritual thought schools is like the flame of Saint Germain, which is the transmutation, the flame that takes anything and alchemizes it into something else. And ideally, this image of this kind of woman or figure of a woman, we don't even know, this shade or this thing is coming out into expansion after this death, into moving through that light. But it has to go through these fearful processes. And also, like you say, all these eyes are like looking, seeking, looking, observing. Is this spy energy. We're always being kind of like the Scorpio energy observes everything and looks into the deepest corners of everything to understand it, to fully grasp it. So yeah, the skulls and the death process. And yeah, the Scorpion, like you said, is usually associated also with a lot of course, the constellation of Scorpio, but as an animal, like it's like spiders in the psyche, the collective psyche, usually is associated with fear. And when a lot of people just fear spiders or snakes or scorpions, it's like fear energy. But there is power in fear, because once you see the shadows, it just, you can see that it's not that bad. And that's what takes us to the next part of the Scorpio energy, is people that have gone through these processes again and again and again and again become really, really, really strong. It's like, hey, I've gone to hell 10,000 times. So, well, the next time you're like, hello, dude, demon, how are you doing today? Cool beans. And the demon's like, yeah, rocking here. Like, let's go have a beer. You start making friends with those demons. It's like no longer, they're like almost dissolved. Because that's why we say that Scorpio people are so resilient. When they have understood the immense capacity for strength and power that comes, and empowerment that comes with this energy of seeing the darkest, deepest things that nobody wants to see. And that experience gives you strength. And that's why lots of very heavy scorpionic people or plutonic people are excellent therapists and excellent, hypnotherapists, therapists, like psychiatrists, psychologists, because they can go and look at the dirty things and fears and finding and say, hey, I'm going to take you to hell. Take my hand. It's not that bad. No. Hello, Hades, how are you? And the person's like, no, please no. And I'm holding your hand. It's not that bad. That is why. Because they've been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
Yeah.
So, Dulcie, now let's talk about the higher octave of expression, lower octave, unless you have any other comments that we might have forgotten.
No, you mentioned the occult here. You drew the pendant there.
Yeah.
So just kind of the exploration of the unknown, the hidden, the occult.
Mm-hmm. Which includes like maybe astrology as well as an occult art, or any magic, So the higher octave, what words do you have that highlight the most positive expression of this Scorpionic energy?
Okay, so I have passionate, emotional or experiencing deep emotions, persistent, intense, ambitious, demonstrating a calm exterior. So you can't necessarily tell that they are experiencing all kinds of things inside. They look
poker face.
Poker face. Oh yeah, that's a good one. I do not have a poker face.
I don't.
No.
I do poker face.
But on the inside, they're experiencing intensity, or they're strong-willed, or strong emotions, deep emotions. That kind of inner need to be in control, which can be used in a bad way, of course, but it can also be used in a good way. They are, organizing things and to better other people, or to develop a better strategy for solving a problem or something like that.
Empower people as well, right?
Yeah, feeling that power. Plutonic, I guess. And eager to solve the mysteries of the universe, and they will not stop until they find the answer. A penetrating mind, so very focused on something. Wanting to learn everything there is to know about a topic. So less like Gemini, where you want to learn many things. This is picking something and going deep. Practical, and a problem solver. A problem solver meaning there's a problem and they will not stop until they've figured out the solution. So they've tried something that didn't work. They're not going to stop.
Not in the Virgo sense.
Exactly. Yeah, they're not going to stop there. They will keep going until they've found what
the root
solution is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, how about, and to compliment, I will definitely deep for sure. Piercing. The transmuter. So you can alchemize anything. And truthful, because it just seeks the truth, right? And we have like the embodiment of this energy could be seen in the shaman, the psychologist, of course, the detective who wants to find the truth of something, usually gory things, the hypnotist, the alchemist. Mm-hmm. So all of this is tied to finding truth, to evolving, to transmuting, and to transcending. All this energy is really geared towards a positive expression of this depth of intensity and power to empowerment. Whereas in the more, let's say, darker side or lower octave of the expression, then we would have Dulcie.
So that one would be stubborn, but less in the Taurus sense, where
I just want this. No, it's more obsessed. It's more like an obsessive stubbornness, right? Like,
yeah, I will not stop, no matter what you say.
psycho, you know.
um, secretive, definitely. Manipulative. So there's that kind of desire for power, but using it in a manipulative way. Jealous, brooding.
Suspicious. Yeah, I have secretive.
Mhm.
No, hiding. Mysterious, dark. And when I say dark, it's again, it's not like good or bad. It's like all the dark things. It's like
Mhm.
it's gory. You can't see there. There's no transparency whatsoever. So it could even be very dishonest, which is interesting because as for
Yeah.
the seeker of truth, it can itself be very dishonest if it wants, because it's manipulative, right? It's manipulating the truth by absolutely knowing it. It's
Mhm.
like, oh, I didn't know, but I totally do.
Yeah, the truth is for me.
Yeah, yeah, the truth
I
is
know.
for me, and I can manipulate it and just
Yeah.
twist it around as much, and nobody will ever find out. And obsessed, it can be like compulsive obsessed with something again.
Mhm.
It could be embodied in the person like a seducer. It's this seductive energy, you know. The spy. So a spy is what it is, right? It's like not being truthful. It's blending in so you can extract information, and then you don't know what they're going to do with this information. Mm. The intruder. It's an intrusive energy as well, because precisely it's like the invisible cloak. You're there, nobody sees you, but you see everything. And the sorcerer. This, like, if we take the alchemist as the one that's taking this dark energy and turning it into something beautiful, again, like the sorcerer, it's the one who, I have my little voodoo doll here, and voodoo. I don't know. We'll see about that. So yeah, that's the very low expression of the Scorpio energy. It could even be very dangerous in this sense. I mean, dangerous, whatever. You know what I mean? It's like it's not necessarily. It could be very toxic, and the Scorpio energy is, and like Pluto also rules the fecal matter, and it rules all the waste. It rules waste.
Mhm.
So dead things waste, and it could be toxic when you hold on to an unhealed expression of an Scorpio energy. Well, there's a lot of toxicity, nuclear, and yeah, yeah. It's kind of, this energy always reminds me a little bit of yeah. For example, in the sexual nature, the expression of the scorpionic sexuality could go totally into the dungeon BDSM. I don't know, kids, if you're watching, just you didn't hear this. No, kids can't watch this, can they? Well, BDSM. I'm not going to elaborate into what it is, but yes, I could go into that energy. It's the very lowest expression of sexuality, or the rawest, I would say. I don't want to say low, because again, it's just an experience. It's an expression of raw, which, sometimes go into sadism and, masochism and very things. Let's get real here, people. So that's a Scorpio, but hey, we all have it somewhere in a part of an area of our lives where there's the need to merge, to unmerge, to attach, to detach, to express. So, Dulcie, do we have time for anecdotes?
Sure, a couple minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Do you have any scorpionic anecdotes, or of people or things that in their positive or more negative expression?
Definitely. Yeah, I know several people who are Scorpio sun, Scorpio rising, and they're very um, determined in the areas of academics that they are studying. So just one studies science and just knows everything there is to know about the specific types of science that they study. So I could ask this person anything and they would know exactly the answer. But then there's also the secretive side, just, hiding certain things. And yeah, I don't want to go into too much detail, but
Let's leave it at
definitely,
hiding thing.
yeah. And in terms of my own life, I don't have a very strong Scorpio
Good for you.
star, but I have recently experienced a Scorpio eighth house profection year. So if you study ancient astrology, each year is correlated to one sign, one house in your chart for that year. So during that year, I was coming to terms with the end of a relationship, coming to terms with leaving Montreal, and leaving my job. It was just a lot of endings all at once. And it was a very unpleasant process, but beautiful at the same time. And yeah, and once it was over, it was very healing as well. You come out of it a new person and with new perspectives and stronger in the end. So yeah, endings and beginnings all wrapped into Scorpio.
Well, my scorpionic being, well, Venus and Uranus in Scorpio. Ouch. So I don't think I'm going to say anything about it. It's a secret I'll never tell you. No, what I can say, it's, yes, extremely painful relationships, extremely the need for understanding the pain of attaching and detaching and evolving and then getting the wings at the end, because I did get the wings, the process of that. It's yeah, the I totally know the nature of the scorpionic energy within me. I felt it. Yes, the pain is very real. It's not unreal, but yeah, you do get so much stronger. It's like literally, it's like your heart becomes like unbreakable. Then it does. And it's not like it becomes walled, not when you're really doing a process of true healing and transformation. What I mean really transformative, it's amazing. And I went through Pluto transit, and that's a whole other topic, but Pluto has the same thing, right? I went through a very heavy Pluto transit. It's no joke, people, and I'm going to be serious this time. It's no joke. It's you are faced with the most dark thoughts, feelings, experiences. It's not just grief and it's not necessarily because something died around. It's internal. It's so internal and it's so devastating. It's painful. Yay. But good news is you do get the wings. And that's what the Scorpio people or Scorpio souls need to understand. When you do get those wings, you're like, yay, now I can fly. I can fly anywhere, anywhere. I'm free and I'm new. And I can empower others and tell them, I've been there. Come with me and get your wings. I don't know where my wings are, but I'll get them. So, yeah. Telling you, that's my Scorpio stories is more like, yeah, that's I could go on forever with how painful the experiences are, but it's just to give a little bit depth, and the Scorpio needs the depth. Without the depth, that's uninteresting, honestly. That's why it's like it's the inconjunct Gemini. Gemini wants everything, blah blah blah, surfacey. Scorpio's like, no, keep me deep. I want the real thing. So yeah. And and with Venus and Uranus and Scorpio, well, astrology, I am immersed in it like there's no tomorrow. Like, that's it. I found a topic like what Dulce was saying, and I'm like going deep, deep. I'm never stopping. I'm never stopping. When I know everything about it, everything about everyone that I can help with astrology. I just wanna see into your eyes. I can just piercing deeply in there. All right, I think we said also, people, if you have a very strong Scorpio energy, sun, moon, rising, or a stellium, meaning lots of planets in your Scorpio house that you know of, or people with a heavy Scorpio, please love them so much and understand their depth and their, it's a matter of understanding the function of the Scorpio. And we want your comments and your stories as well to see how you have been dealing with this energy and how you have really worked with it. It's a wonderful, empowering, deep energy. Yeah, so with this being said, if you like the image that you saw, I am, this is my infomercial moment. I created these images and now I'm putting them available as artwork in, art prints or mugs or different products through Society 6. You can find the link below if you like to support my artwork and what I'm doing with visual astrology and the archetype nature of things. Then you can always check that out. It's still in progress, so this might be coming out, really, the collection of astrology in like the next month or so, but start checking it out. There's lots of awesome things. Yay! So anyway, Dulcie, are we wrapping this up?
We sure are.
Bye bye, Scorpio people. Love you. Dulcie, I'm gonna be hiding under this blanket forever. You'll never see me again.
Soon.
I will spy on you.
Goodbye forever.
Goodbye forever. I'm gonna put 2 little holes through here. Dulcie, no. Whoa.